in California's U.S. Senate race shows Congressman Adam Schiff expanding his first-place lead to 24%. But the real face-off right now is for second place. Remember, the top two advance after March 5th. And that face-off is between Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter and Republican Steve Garvey. So look at right now, Porter's at 19, Garvey's at 18. That's a statistical dead heat. Barbara Lee way behind at 10%. So Katie Porter is trying to move on to the Senate seat. We talked to her tonight on our political show, The Issue Is.
People need to vote by March 5th to make their voices heard, to participate in deciding who should be our next senator. I think one of the things I have to offer California is that I'm very focused on our future. I'm focused on what we need to do to meet our biggest challenges, not on kind of the status quo, because in my time in California, we've seen housing affordability get worse. We haven't made the progress we need to on climate, our rights being under attack. And so it's really a campaign, I think, in our case, about shaking up Washington, about doing things differently.
Whatever happens in the primary, Porter is leaving the House of Representatives behind, and her seat in California's 47th District is now wide open. It's expected to be one of the most competitive congressional seats in the country. 4 top contenders are now looking to make it past the March 5th primary to be in the November general election. They are Republican Scott Baugh, Democrat Dave Min, Republican Max Ukrapina, and Democrat Joanna Weiss. We've offered each of them an opportunity to join us on the 6 o'clock news to make their cases. Last night, Max Ukrapina was here. Tonight, we welcome fellow Republican candidate Scott Baugh. Good to see you. I know last night we talked about with him that you didn't want to come on. You said that was a miscommunication with your staff. We're glad that you're here, and it's great to see you once again.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Alex.
All right, so let's talk about this. I know that a lot of voters in the district are familiar with you because you ran against Katie Porter last time. We're really, really close.
Notwithstanding being outspent $29 million to $3 million.
Okay, so, but maybe introduce yourself to folks. Why you?
Well, I'm a conservative Republican. I'm a constitutional Republican. We know what's wrong in our country. Our debt is out of control, and the $34 trillion is just the start. It's going to be $50 trillion real soon, climbing to $80 trillion. That puts pressure on inflation, and we're really robbing our children's futures. We also have an open border. 10 million people come across in the last 3 years. And what's worse is you have some of the asylum seekers, which I think is a lot of fraud going on there, but you also have 2 or 3 million gotaways. These people don't intend to comply with the law. Drug traffickers, terrorists, human sex traffickers. We have to secure the border, and we have to get our spending under control in Congress. We have crime problems, we have homeless problems, and of course that inflation, price of food up 17%, price of gas up. It's hurting everyday American families.
So right now, the contrast on the Republican side is you versus Max Ukrapina. Last night he was here and basically argued that, you know, you're sort of an older generation, you're sort of more continuing the status quo. Why you over him? What do you think about him?
Well, I have the experience to get the job done. I don't think about him a whole lot. I know how to solve the problems. I've done it in the state legislature. I've been involved in our community. I started a lot of foundations, Angel Force USA, helping our veterans deal with mental health issues and suicide issues. I started the Orange County Marathon. We've trained over 100,000 kids in the art of nutrition and exercise. I'm the chairman of the GRIP, the Gang Reduction Intervention Program. I love this community. I love our district. I love California, and I'm fighting for it.
Let's talk a little bit more about the border. You just brought that issue up. We have seen an influx of people, especially coming to the California border now as Mexico has been sort of strengthening their border. What is the solution to this? Because Congress just had this bill that basically died that a lot of analysts, including the Border Patrol Union, thought would have helped. What do we do in Congress on this?
Alex, that bill was a bit of a joke. It allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants to come into America every year. We are a generous country. Do you know we allow over 1 million green cards every year? Legal immigration. It works. We need to secure the border, period. We need to finish the wall. When Donald Trump was president, we didn't have this problem. Under Joe Biden, we've had 10 million people cross illegally.
Well, we had a migration problem when Donald Trump was here. It wasn't as bad, but there hasn't been real immigration reform in Congress in 40 years.
That's right, but you don't need a new bill to secure the border. You may need a new bill to finish the wall, things like that, but right now we could stop all those asylum seekers. We could stop the 2 million drug traffickers and terrorists and sex traffickers that are coming across our border. We just have to have the will. We have to have the right leadership.
So you approve of this idea of more executive action for President Biden taking that they're now floating?
Well, I don't think he's going to do it. I think it's a farce. I think it's a pig in a poke. I don't think they're actually going to do it. When they allow 1.8 million new illegal immigrants every year, that's not a lot different than what we have right now. So what reform is really there? He has the authority to do it now and to close the border, and he lacks the will to do it.
And lastly, real quickly, because the Congress could come down to this race.
That's right. That's right.
Why do the Republicans in the House deserve to keep the majority?
Well, we see what happens with the Democrat majority. They expand government, expand government. The problem, the reason we're in this trouble today, the reason we have a $34 trillion debt is because when the Democrats were there, you have the Inflation Reduction Act, you have the CHIPS Act, you have all this infrastructure of spending going on without regard to the consequence. I'll finish with one thing here.
Yeah.
Japan had 30 years of no growth because of their debt. We are heading to declining growth because of our debt. We need to solve that problem so we don't hurt our next generation.
Scott Baugh, thank you so much. Joanna Weiss, Dave Min will be here next week to share their perspectives. Great to see you.
Thank you very
for coming
much.
in.
Yeah.